The Dinosaur Park. Sarah was an 8-year-old girl who loved dinosaurs. She had many dinosaur toys and books. Every night, before going to bed, she asked her mother to read a story about these giant creatures that lived long ago. One day, her parents surprised her with some big news. They were going to visit the new dinosaur park that had just opened in the nearby city. Dinosaur Park, Sarah shouted in excitement. She couldn't believe it. This park was not like a regular zoo. It was a special place where they had life-size models of dinosaurs that moved and made sounds. Some people said it felt like the dinosaurs were real. On Saturday morning, Sarah woke up early. She quickly brushed her teeth, got dressed, and packed her favorite dinosaur book in her backpack. Her mother made sandwiches for lunch, and her father prepared the camera to take lots of pictures. Finally, they were ready to go. The drive to Dinosaur Park took about an hour. As they got closer, Sarah saw the large sign that said "Welcome to Dinosaur Park." There were pictures of T-Rex, Triceratops, and other dinosaurs on it. Sarah's heart was pounding with excitement. When they entered the park, Sarah was amazed. The first thing she saw was a giant T-Rex, standing tall in the middle of the park. It was as tall as a house. Its eyes looked so real, and it even moved its head slowly from side to side. Suddenly, it opened its mouth and let out a loud roar. Sarah jumped back, grabbing her father's hand. "Don't worry," her father said, laughing. "It's not real. It's just a robot." Sarah laughed too, but her eyes were still wide. The T-Rex looked so real. She could see its sharp teeth and the little arms it had. She felt like she had traveled back in time to the world of the dinosaurs. They walked around the park, looking at all the different kinds of dinosaurs. There were Stegosaurus with their plates standing up on their backs, and Brachiosaurus with long necks that reached high into the trees. The dinosaurs were placed in areas that looked like the places they used to live millions of years ago. Some were in forests, others near lakes, and some even in places that looked like deserts. In one part of the park, there was a section where children could dig for dinosaur bones. It was called the Dino Dig Zone. Sarah quickly ran over to this area. There were many kids, each with a small shovel and brush, searching through the sand. Sarah got her tools and began to dig. After a few minutes, she felt her shovel hit something hard. "I found something," she shouted. Slowly, she brushed away the sand and saw a big bone. A park worker came over and smiled. "Good job," he said. "You found a piece of a Triceratops skull." Sarah was thrilled. She felt like a real scientist, discovering something important. The worker explained how real scientists, called paleontologists, dig up bones like these to learn about the past. Sarah listened carefully. She wanted to be a paleontologist when she grew up. After the Dino Dig Zone, Sarah and her family decided to have lunch. They found a picnic area in the park and sat down to eat. As they were eating, they heard loud footsteps. Sarah turned her head to see a large dinosaur walking toward them. It was a model controlled by park workers, but it moved like a real dinosaur. It was a gentle giant, a Brachiosaurus. It bent its long neck down as if it were looking at them. "Look, it's eating leaves," Sarah said, pointing. The Brachiosaurus's mouth moved as it ate the leaves from a nearby tree. It was amazing to watch. After lunch, they continued exploring the park. They went to the dino show, where actors dressed as explorers told stories about the dinosaurs. They even showed how the dinosaurs might have moved and hunted. Sarah learned that some dinosaurs were meat-eaters, while others were plant-eaters. The actors made it fun and exciting, and Sarah learned many new things. As they walked to the last section of the park, Sarah noticed a large cage. Inside was a model of a velociraptor. It looked small but fierce. Its eyes were sharp, and its claws looked dangerous. The sign next to the cage said that velociraptors were very smart and could hunt in groups. "Wow," Sarah whispered. "I wouldn't want to meet one of these in real life." Her mother nodded. "That's why it's good they're not real anymore," she said with a smile. Sarah couldn't believe how much she had seen and learned that day. The dinosaur park was everything she had hoped for and more. As the sun began to set, it was time for them to leave. Sarah was sad to go, but also very happy. She knew she would have many stories to tell her friends at school. On the way back to the car, her father asked, "So, did you have fun today?" "Yes," Sarah said, her eyes shining. "It was the best day ever. I felt like I was really living with the dinosaurs." But little did Sarah know, the adventure wasn't over yet. There was one more surprise waiting for her, something that would make this day even more unforgettable. As they walked toward the exit, Sarah noticed a small path leading away from the main area of the park. A sign next to the path read, "Dino Adventure Trail, for explorers only." Sarah stopped and tugged on her father's hand. "Can we go there?" she asked, pointing at the trail. Her father looked at the sign and smiled. "Why not? It says it's for explorers, and you were a great explorer today, finding that Triceratops bone." Sarah's mother agreed, so they decided to take the trail. The path was lined with tall trees and thick bush, making it feel like they were walking into a real jungle. It was quiet, except for the sound of birds and the rustling of leaves in the wind. The further they walked, the more Sarah felt like she was stepping back in time to when dinosaurs ruled the earth. Suddenly, they heard a low growl from behind a bush. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She stopped and looked at her parents. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Her mother nodded, holding her hand tightly. "Yes, but don't worry, it's probably just another robot." They continued walking, and the growling sound grew louder. They turned a corner, and there, behind some tall ferns, was another dinosaur. It was a model of a Spinosaurus, with a long snout and a sail-like spine on its back. It moved its head slowly from side to side and let out another deep growl. "It looks so real," Sarah said in awe. "It's like it's watching us." "That's the idea," her father said with a laugh. "They want us to feel like we're in the dinosaurs' world." The trail led them further into the jungle-like area of the park. As they walked, they came across more dinosaurs. They saw a pack of velociraptors hidden in the trees, their eyes glowing in the dim light. They saw a family of triceratops grazing peacefully in a meadow. Sarah was amazed at how lifelike everything was. It felt like an adventure, exploring this hidden part of the park. After a while, they reached a large open area with a small building in the middle. A sign outside the building said, "Dinosaur Hatchery. Come see the baby dinosaurs." "Baby dinosaurs?" Sarah exclaimed. "I have to see them." They entered the building and found themselves in a room filled with large glass containers. Inside each container was a model of a dinosaur egg. Some of the eggs were cracked open, showing small baby dinosaurs moving inside. The models moved their tiny heads and made soft, high-pitched noises. "Look at that one!" Sarah pointed to an egg where a baby triceratops was trying to break out of its shell. It pushed with its little legs and wiggled its head. Sarah pressed her face against the glass, watching it closely. A park guide walked over to them. "Hello, welcome to the Dinosaur Hatchery," she said with a smile. "Here, you can see how baby dinosaurs might have looked when they hatched from their eggs." "Are they real?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide. The guide laughed. "No, they're not real. They're very advanced models, but we try to make them look as real as possible so you can imagine what it was like millions of years ago." Sarah watched as the baby triceratops finally broke free from its shell. It was so small, much smaller than the adult triceratops she had seen earlier in the park. "I wish I could hold it," Sarah said softly. "Me too," the guide replied. "But these little ones need to stay in their nests. However, if you want, you can hold a dinosaur egg." "Really?" Sarah's face lit up with excitement. The guide led them to a table where there were several model dinosaur eggs. Sarah carefully picked up one of the eggs. It was warm to the touch and felt surprisingly heavy. She held it close, imagining what it would be like if a real baby dinosaur were inside. "You're doing a great job," the guide said. "You would make a wonderful dinosaur caretaker." After spending some time in the hatchery, it was time to leave. Sarah was a bit sad to go, but she knew this was a day she would never forget. They continued along the Dino Adventure Trail, which soon led them back to the main area of the park. As they reached the exit, a park worker stopped them. "Excuse me," he said. "Would you like to take part in our special evening event, the Dinosaur Night Safari?" "Dinosaur Night Safari?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with excitement. "Yes," the worker explained. "It's a special tour where we take visitors around the park at night to see how dinosaurs might have behaved after the sun went down. It's very exciting and a little bit spooky." Sarah looked at her parents with pleading eyes. "Can we, please?" Her parents exchanged a glance. They had planned to leave, but Sarah was having so much fun. "All right," her mother said with a smile. "Let's do it." The worker handed them special glow sticks and told them to meet near the T-Rex statue when it got dark. They had a little time before the safari started, so they decided to have dinner at the park's restaurant. It was called Dino Diner, and it was decorated with dinosaur footprints and bones. They ordered dinosaur-shaped nuggets and prehistoric fruit juice, which made Sarah giggle. When it finally got dark, they headed to the T-Rex statue. A group of other families had gathered there, and a guide holding a lantern greeted them. "Welcome to the Dinosaur Night Safari," the guide said. "Tonight, we will take you on a journey to see how dinosaurs might have lived at night. Are you ready?" Yes, everyone shouted ... They started the tour, walking through the park's dark paths with only their glow sticks and the guide's lantern lighting the way. The dinosaurs looked even more real in the dark. The guide explained that some dinosaurs were more active at night, hunting and moving around in the shadows. As they walked through the forest area, they heard the sound of branches snapping. Sarah held her breath. What was that? Suddenly, they saw glowing eyes in the bush. The guide shined his lantern, and they saw a pair of velociraptors standing silently, their eyes glowing in the light. They moved quickly, disappearing into the darkness. Velociraptors were excellent night hunters, the guide said. They could see in the dark and were very quiet, which made them dangerous predators. They continued the safari, hearing different dinosaur sounds in the dark. In one area, they saw a group of Brachiosaurus resting under the stars. In another, they heard the distant roar of a T-Rex. It was thrilling and a little bit scary. Sarah felt like she was really living in a world of dinosaurs. At the end of the tour, they gathered in a clearing where the guide told them to look up. Above them, the night sky was filled with stars. Dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, but some things never change, the guide said. The same stars we see tonight were shining down on the dinosaurs long ago. Sarah looked up, feeling a sense of wonder. She had learned so much that day, but more than anything, she felt connected to a time far, far away. The dinosaur park had brought that world to life for her in a way she would never forget. As they left the park that night, Sarah held her parents' hands tightly. "Thank you for today," she said. "It was the best adventure ever." Her mother smiled and kissed her on the forehead. "You're welcome, sweetheart. We're glad you enjoyed it." Sarah looked back at the park one last time, thinking about the dinosaurs, the adventures, and the magical feeling of walking among giants. She knew this was a day she would remember forever. A day when she became a real explorer in the land of the dinosaurs. The drive home was quiet as Sarah fell asleep in the back seat, dreaming of more adventures with her dinosaur friends. And though the park was behind them, the memory of the dinosaur park stayed with her, bright and exciting, like the stars shining down on the ancient world.